And then I'm going to invite Declan to unmute themselves and start us off.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Unitarian Church of Edmonton. My name is Declan Kiley, and I will be your service leader this morning. We do hope you feel welcome here. The Unitarian Universalist faith is a creedless community dedicated to a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. We embrace a pluralistic philosophy, opening our hearts and minds to diverse ideas, feelings, and expressions of our world community. Whatever your heritage, whatever your faith, whomever you love, you are welcome here today. We respectfully acknowledge that we are located on Treaty 6 territory, a traditional gathering place for diverse Indigenous peoples, including the Cree, Blackfoot, Métis, Nakota Sioux, Iroquois, Ojibwe, I don't know that one, Saulteaux, Anishinaabe, Inuit, and many others whose histories, languages, and cultures continue to influence our vibrant community. We recognize that everyone here has a role to play to help this community build. We can do so by cherishing old friendships and opening a circle to include newcomers. We give thanks to those who work on behalf of this community every day. We acknowledge our volunteers who help make this service run so smoothly. We ask that you take a moment now to ensure that your microphone is muted. If you're having connection troubles, it might help to turn off your camera as well. We are glad to have you with us this morning. We hope you find something in this service today that nourishes your spirit and helps you find and keep your balance. We open the service now with a musical prelude, offering each of us a time of quiet contemplation and inspiration.
I'm turning London town to go-go. Oh, with the record selection and the mirror's reflection, I'm a dancing with myself. Oh, when there's no one else inside, I think the crowded lonely night. Well, I wait so long for my love vibration, and I'm dancing with myself. Dancing with myself. Dancing with myself. Oh, when there's nothing to lose and there's nothing to prove, I'm dancing with myself. If I looked all over the world, and there's every type of girl, but your empty eyes seem to pass me by, leave me dancing with myself. So let's sing another drink, 'cause it'll give me time to think. If I had a chance, I'd ask a woman to dance, and I'll be dancing with myself. Dancing with myself. Dancing with myself. When there's nothing to lose and there's nothing to prove, I'm dancing with myself. Cause it'll give me time to think. If I had the chance, I'd ask a woman to dance, and I'll be dancing with myself. Dancing with myself. Dancing with myself. If I had the chance, I'd ask a woman to dance. If I had the chance, I'd ask a woman to dance. If I had the chance, I'd ask a woman to dance. Dancing with myself.
Now, I'm trying something a little bit experimental here, and everyone will have to forgive me for the messy kitchen that's going to be in the background. But I have a chalice right here, and I have a barbecue lighter. So we're going to make this happen. Hope is the thing with feathers by Emily Dickinson. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. And sweetest in the gale is heard, and sore must be the storm that could abash the little bird that kept so many warm. I've heard it in the chillest land and on the strangest sea, yet never in extremity it asked a crumb of me. And then we are going to do a bit of a hymn together. As we discovered last week, actually singing hymns with live microphones simply does not work. But we have found an audio file of one that I think we all know pretty well. And with microphones muted, everyone is, of course, invited to sing as they are willing and able in their own spaces. And with that, we are going to go into our first reflection from the youth. So I invite AJ to unmute themselves and read their piece.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Can you hear me? Okay. If you would have told me at the beginning of the year that all of this was going to happen, I would have said you are insane. COVID-19 is probably one of the worst.
AJ, I'm sorry, my dear, you're not coming through at all.
Not? I'm not coming through.
Not hearing you, love.
I'm clear as a bell.
I'm hearing
Oh, is it just me? Okay, I apologize.
Yeah, you sound great, AJ.
Okay.
You sound great.
It's probably one of the worst things that has ever happened to me in my life. The most unhappy and depressed I have ever been. I miss my friends, my school, and I miss my life. You know when you have those dreams that you feel so real and you wake up and remember that it was all a dream? Sometimes I wish and I think that this is all a dream. I wish this was not real. I want to say that this will all get better, but I know that's not what I feel. News articles and terrified friends are all things that I've been avoiding to make myself feel better. Which, by the way, I know is not good. No France or Spain, no Halifax, and no grad are things that are not happening, and that makes me very sad. But knowing I'm not alone, makes me see some hope in all this. Seeing that we're here and all safe makes me happy. Realizing what we can't control in this situation is most important, and understanding that this is not permanent. It's okay to be unhappy, and it's okay to be mad. It's stressful and unfair, but all in the end, hopefully, it will be okay. Thank you.
Sorry, I'm just trying to keep all of my windows straight here. So last week when Reverend Anne was running the service for both congregations, we found that it worked very, very well to have a time for candles, and everyone that is able could type something into the chat so that everyone could see our joys and concerns right now. So we have chosen a, I think, very appropriate piece of music for this, perhaps a little less meditative than the candles music often is, so that we can all do that.
All around the world, everybody's freaking out now. All I really wanna know is, when can I go out of my house? I just wanna dance with you, even in a hazmat suit. We can hunker in my bunker, baby, we ain't got no morning commute. We're in this together, but get away. I love you forever, from far away, till you're feeling better. We're in the isolation groove. We're in this together, but separately. I love you forever, but please don't touch me, till you're feeling better. We're in the isolation groove. Ain't nobody in the street, ain't nobody on the dance floor. They're too busy buying everything at every single grocery store. Let's heat up the kitchen, baby. We got one more can of beans. Ain't nobody else I'd rather be stuck with in a quarantine. We're in this together, but get away. I love you forever. I love you forever. Please don't touch me, till you're feeling better. We're in the isolation groove. Try to catch my love. Can you try and catch my love? Come on, try and catch my love. It's all we got, but it's enough. We're in this together, but get away. I love you forever, from far away, till you're feeling better. We're in the isolation groove. We're in this together, separately. I love you forever, please don't touch me, till you're feeling the isolation groove.
Which brings us to our second reflection. So I invite Alora to unmute herself and share what she's written for us.
Hello, tell me if I'm too loud. Feel free to interrupt me and tell me I'm too loud because I'm a loud talker. So
You're coming through a little like Charlie Brown's teacher. I think maybe the microphone is just a little too close to your mouth.
Okay. Is that any better?
That is better.
Okay. At first, I freaked out. I had a panic attack, and I honestly thought that the world was going to end, because that's just how I think. Since then, I've had time to think about it, and I've accepted the fact that the only part of this I can control is me and what I do and how I react and how I try to help. I thrive on routine. School and church are a large part of my regular routine. I was worried it would feel odd not having school and church in person. However, I'm happy that both are being held online. It makes my day-to-day life feel more regular. One thing that I found interesting is how when I choose to stay home, it makes me feel happy. But when I'm being forced to stay home, I feel trapped, and where I am is the last place I want to be. I guess that comes down to a mindset and how I choose to think. I know that a lot of people are stressed and being put in very difficult situations. In my experience, when people are stressed, I've seen them take their emotions out on other people. This makes everyone agitated and no one wants to be around. I think that patience and understanding are very helpful in these stressful times. I know that I've been stressed. This has been an emotional roller coaster for me. I've cried and I've ranted. I felt trapped and stressed, and I felt free and relaxed. These past few weeks, my emotions have been front and center in my life. I've learned that expressing those feelings is good for me. If I choose to keep them inside and not talk about how I'm feeling, suddenly the room feels smaller and I feel very alone. Through this time, I hope that everyone will participate in physical distancing and also make taking care of themselves and their mental and physical health a priority. Stay safe, kids, family. Thank you.
I have a short piece that has been prepared by Andrew Mills to read, because even when we're holding online services, we need to remember that even while we are having to meet this way, our church still has expenses and still needs our generosity and our abundance. The Unitarian Church of Edmonton is a self-governing and self-supporting community. We rely on your donations to support the staff and programs of our church. During this health crisis, we need your financial support more than ever to maintain connections with our members and friends. During this time, when we are meeting virtually, there are a number of online methods you can use to support the church. The best method of supporting our church is to set up ongoing automatic payments from your bank. Many of our members have already done this. To set up ongoing donations, please email our Canvas chair, Andrew Mills. To make a donation by credit card, you can go to canadahelps.org and search for UCE. There is also a link to Canada Helps on the UCE website near the bottom of the homepage. Instead of using a check, you can give with an Interact Bank transfer using your online banking. Set up an Interact transfer to the church office using the admin email address. Please use online donation methods and refrain from mailing materials to the church during this period of social distancing. Contact the church office or the Canvas chair, Andrew Mills, if you need assistance with online donations. You can find this and more donation information on the church website at uce.ca. Click the Canvas tab and then select How to Donate. Please give generously to sustain the work of our church.
Hi everybody, here's another fun little musical parody. This one is Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Now when a virus comes along that's spreading like a plague, and POTUS and his lackeys have been nothing if not vague, well then you've got to trust the CDC and listen well, unless you want to bid our free society farewell. There is a Super bad, transmittable, contagious, awful virus. And if we don't act quick and social distance, it will mire us in a stretch of quarantine that lasts until July. Super bad, transmittable, contagious, awful virus. And if you got a better cough in your arm, and if you got a better cough in your arm. Now back in 1918, influenza had its run, but half their docs were busy overseas with World War I. Today we have mass media and scientists to say, if you don't want this virus, well then stay 6 feet away. Super damn important that we practice isolation, because we're asymptomatic while it's in incubation. We'll overwhelm our hospitals if there's not mitigation. It's super damn important that we practice isolation. If we don't do it, then we're all gonna die. If we don't do it, then we're all gonna die. And so I hope at last you take the lesson here to heart, because it's already scary and we're only at the start. If you get bored, just think of the immunocompromised, who can't go much of anywhere unless it's sterilized. Oh, super bad, transmittable, contagious, awful virus. If we don't act quick and social distance, it will mire us in a stretch of quarantine that lasts until July. Super bad, transmittable, a super bad, transmittable, a super bad, transmittable, contagious, awful virus. Super bad, transmittable, contagious, awful virus.
And then with huge thanks to our tech guru, Bill Lee, and his recording, what's the word I'm looking for, mojo, we actually have our Receiving the Offering song as a soundbite. Feel free to sing along. And now we are on to our third reflection. Declan, if you would unmute yourself and share your piece, please.
Hello. Before this situation, I wanted to talk about the vastness of space, our country, the youth's theme of space-time continuum, and our trip to Halifax. But now I find myself stuck in a space much smaller than I'd anticipated. Even though I can connect with the entire world with my phone, I can't shake the feeling that the walls are closing in on me. The outside world no longer feels real. Without the sky as a reference, the days blend together. Clocks mean nothing and movement is a chore. Strangest of all, I have so much free time to make art, but since I'm trapped within these walls, my creativity and motivation has vanished. Although I'm cooped away, I do my best to stay in touch. I've never liked texting, but now that everyone's holed up in their own tiny spaces, I've never been so eager to reach out, which is why I'm so grateful for meetings like this and how we gather from so far away. That's all.
Thank you, Declan. We were asked to keep this service, online service, as short as possible, but we feel very strongly that we need at least a brief period of meditation. So we have chosen a piece of music from, due credit, Elora's calm music playlist, and we will listen to that together. All of which brings us to our fourth reflection. And I would invite Violet to unmute herself and share what she's written.
All right. Hello. Beginning in October, I've become progressively more awkward. I used to consider myself a conversationalist of sorts, but I have struggled to pitch in and add my thoughts in way too many social situations as of late. It's embarrassing, really. I've never had so much trouble with making friends, and while I'd like to talk to new people, I get too scared to. School is a huge part of my life, and so are my friends, but I must admit, when I found out it was canceled, I was a little relieved. Things like popularity and relevance matter way more to me, whatever they mean, for some reason, and combined with my newfound teen awkwardness, made me rather scared to return to school every morning. Taking time to myself is extremely comforting because of this, but I feel lazy, like I'm not doing anything, mostly because that's true. What do you expect? Productivity who? I haven't heard of her. I've been talking to my friends nearly every day, but I'm missing contact with other people and all the pastimes I enjoyed involving leaving the house. When we're forced into a situation like this, we begin to appreciate things we kind of take for granted otherwise. Being able to organize hangouts with friends, going to movies, parks, museums, malls, church, work, and even our education. Even if we don't particularly like school or work, our learning is important for the future, and if working from home is impossible for you, things get problematic really fast. When I go back to school and church, I really want to try harder. I want to try to pitch in and add my thoughts, because this lack of social interaction has made me appreciate the friends and conversations I've already had, and I'd like to make more. I'll get over this, hopefully. It may be hard, but people can be so cool and interesting. I'm sure you are, so just you wait. That's what I've got.
Thank you, Violet. I feel like I need to preface my own reflection with the fact that usually when the youth are doing the service, I, sit on my butt and let the youth do the service. This time around, partly because of how strange the situation is and the fact that we're using very new technology and a lot of things need to be coordinated, I feel a little bit like I have taken over a little more than I like. But at the same time, I was also invited to write a reflection. So I've done that. 3 weeks ago, we were fretting about time change, full moon, and Friday the 13th all occurring in the same week. Then everything changed. 2 weeks ago, CUC and Canoodle were canceled. UCE decided to suspend in-person services. Schools were shut down. 1 week ago, I and all my fellow staff at the Bennett Center were officially laid off. Everybody except for me spent a few days in our staff chat figuring out how to apply for EI. I went back to working at the grocery store. Usually, scheduling at the store is done 4 weeks in advance, and any changes to availability take that long to take effect. Anybody who's been to a grocery store in the last 2 weeks likely realizes that this was not the case here. They needed extra coverage now. And here I was offering an extra body to insert into the proceedings. I immediately began drawing full-time hours. It's almost surreal returning to my old job, but finding it so very, very different from how I remember it. Most of our customers recognize what's going on, realize the risk we are running by going to work every day, and they thank us for it. Not in the way you always thank the customer service person who's just helped you, but in a way that says you realize what might happen if we were forced to shut down, as so many businesses have been. Of course, there will always be people who are offended that I'm wearing gloves, that I'm asking them to bag their own groceries if they wish to use their reusable shopping bags, that I want them to just hold up their card so I can scan it with my gun instead of taking it from them. There will always be the people who think the whole thing is some kind of trick, a tempest in a teapot, a lot of fuss over nothing. There will always be people who are frustrated that at all the sanitizing we have to do every few customers is forcing them to wait a few extra minutes to be helped. On Tuesday, I measured out and placed the tape lines on the floor at the tills, showing people how far apart to stand in line. The giant red stickers came later. I always loved a project. Now we're gonna swing around so that we can see my chalice again. And Violet, I believe, has some closing words for us.
I sure do. Okay. Should we start?
Go for it.
The chalice is now extinguished, but its light lives on in the minds and hearts and souls of each one of you. Carry that flame as you leave this place.
It's fine.
And share it with those you know, with those you love, and most especially with those you have yet to meet.
And we are going to sing Carry the Flame. I would invite you to put your hands over your heart or give yourself a big, tight, crushing hug, whichever you feel, as we sing Carry the Flame. And then if you will allow us one more piece of music that we think is hilarious.
They've taken away certain things like live shows and meet space meetings and eggs and paper at the grocery store. Because the lockdown started in my city, and though the sunshine shirt is pretty, it's more responsible to stay indoors. I'm giving up on wearing pants. I'm taking photos of my plants, and it's not a choice, but I'm growing out my hair. I'm learning skills, I'm taking naps, I'm lifting weights, I filed my tax, and sometimes I just sit here and despair. But I've got cats, and I've got Netflix, I've got games, and I've got snack mix, and I am gonna stay indoors for 4 to 8 weeks or more. There's no difference between day and night. I canceled my upcoming flights and gigs and work and everything. But as a consolation prize for never seeing sunny skies, they put out a new Animal Crossing. There's lots of crafts I'm gonna make, board games I'll play, and stuff I'll bake, and stacks of books I thought I'd never read. I'm concerned about family and friends, but if this is how the world it ends, at least we're playing online D&D. And I've got cats, and I've got Netflix, I've got games, and I've got pasta sauce, and I am gonna stay indoors for 4 to 8 weeks or more. Meow, 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 meow. winter, trying to embrace the mixed blessing of mandated social distancing. 'Cause I've got cats, and I've got Netflix, I've got games, and I got a bag of lentils I bought in 2016, and I am gonna stay indoors for 4 to 8 weeks or more.
And that was our online service. Thank you everyone for your patience and your help.